Well, basically, even though I was in the service, I didn't travel a lot. So basically this opened up the whole world to me. You know, I had Dr. Tapper and I had Dr. Pat and I had Stan Perry. So they just kind of opened the world up. I managed to find a wife here. I was a junior, she was a freshman. And every year they asked the upperclassmen to come over and help carry up stuff in the dorm. So that was why I was here.
Because of my last name. My last name was Ash, and we had mailboxes at that time in Memorial Hall. And Ash was at the top, and I could not reach it. And so this smart aleck junior said, well, I'll come over every day and lift you up so you can reach your mailbox. And of course my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt are standing back there saying, wow. And then he pursued me. Mm-hmm. And I was dating a young man back home, and so I was not too receptive to his pursuit.
6 weeks.
So he kept after me, and I said, well, my one girlfriend wants to go out with you. Let me set you up with her. And he said, no, I want to go out with you, and the rest is history.
I just remember the very first date we had, we went to the human physiology lab because I needed to study for a test. And she came along with me.
And believe it or not, we actually studied. We have met kept in touch with many of our classmates, former classmates. We just spent 2 weeks in Florida with, do I say a name, Martha Arbo. And we keep in touch with Carolyn and Don Vandell. Marlene Criswell Bryant in California was a roommate of mine. We've been in contact all these years. His former roommate, Dick Buell, we just heard from recently.
And he was the best man at our wedding.
Right. And we've also kept in contact with Barbara and Ken Smith.
Mm-hmm. We've made a couple of trips out there.
Scotty Bezanson and his wife, Mary Jo. So we've kept in contact with many of our former classmates.
Dr. Tapper, I had, what was it, 3 quarters with her with spirit and mind of the Western man. And I really enjoyed it.
Dr. Pat.
And then Dr. Pat was my major field. And he was unusual, shall we say. He used to sit up in the front on his desk, Indian style, when he was lecturing. So, and Stan Perry was another one that, and Dr. Stevens when I had my one religion class. Well, just the way they behaved, and you know, they were understanding. You could always stop and talk to them. So if you had a problem, just go and talk to them.
And another experience I remember from those days is the girls were locked up at 9:15 during their first quarter. And after that, you could be out till after 10, I want to say 10:15, but 10 something. But that was really an experience to know that you were locked up and you could not go out. And if you did go out, you had to have permission to go. Oh yes, you had to have permission to go. This was campus for the students who lived on campus. Now the boys were not locked up, but the girls were locked up. They figured if the girls went home, the guys would go home.
Of course, we circumvented that a little bit. I was in Davis Hall and she was in Memorial Hall. Okay. And there was a door on each floor that led between them.
Locked.
It was locked. But I used to go up and sit on my side of the door, and she'd come and sit on her side of the door, and then we'd sit there and talk for another hour. So it worked. And if I didn't want to go to church in the morning, I'd slide the keys underneath the door, and she could go get the car and find somebody that would drive to church.